Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good day. Are you able to hear me and see my screen? This is the first time I'm trying YouTube Live. Could you type something on the chat box, please? Thank you. Thank you, Abad. Okay, it's 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Let me begin. Welcome to my live market meeting, 17th March 2020. I am Sagar Nandi. I used to work in information technology. I retired several years ago. I'm living in Thailand now. I used to work mostly in Singapore. I'm living in Thailand and swing trading stocks using the Q trading systems and techniques that I developed. You may watch this video. I think this live session will also be posted as a video on my YouTube channel and other videos on my channel Trading Profitably, and contact me using my email ID tradingprofitably@gmail.com. I regularly share stock and market analysis on my traders forum sagarnandi.com and also on the Twitter page sagarnandi. All these resources are open to the public and you are most welcome to make use of them. Let me cover the disclaimer first. This demonstration is for educational purposes only. It is designed to share information on the trading systems and techniques I use. The information presented here should only be used by people who are aware of the risk inherent in trading. Past performance is no guarantee of future return. I am not an investment advisor. This session is not for any recommendation of buying or selling stock or any other instrument. I will have no liability for any investment decision made by the audience. This session is different from the weekly market roundup that I make. Weekly market roundup primarily focuses on the USA market. Here also I will look at the USA market, but I will also spend some time on global markets. What are the systems that I will use? I will use Q Elite and Q Global. They are technical trading systems. Q Elite, I use it on TradeStation, and Q Global can be used for global investing. I use it on MetaStock. Other than using technical analysis, I use sector industry rotation analysis also. I use Q Edge for that, and by doing that I like to buy only in the strongest sectors and industries and short in the weakest sectors and industries. On top of that, I also look at stocks fundamental and peer analysis. Again, for going long, I am looking for strong fundamental stocks, and I have simplified my approach. I either look for undervalued stocks or high growth stocks. I categorize a stock as strong across one of these two dimensions. It can be both, but only one is also enough. And I like to short a stock when it is either overvalued or having declining earnings growth. Sometimes for looking at global markets, other than using Q Global for technical charts, I also look at the global indices. I'll demonstrate how I use that. You may ask questions anytime. I will keep an eye on the YouTube live chat. First time I'm doing it. I hope I can manage it, not mess it up. As usual, that was the last slide of my presentation. Let's start with the live system. Let me look at some of the global markets first. This is AXJO, the Australian index. In the weekly chart, it had displayed the bearish headwind signal right near the very top. In the daily, the bearish headwind came a while ago. After that, it had declined a bit, tried to go up, went above the watermark resistance, dropped below that, creating what I call a false upside breakout. And when that happened, the bearish release signal had come in the daily chart. If there was heavy activity at that time, which was there, then it met all the checklist requirements of the box, that is the sideways market or double top, double bottom short setup. Let me spend some time on what exactly this indicator means. This is part of the stretch indicator. Stretch indicator is also available as a band indicator. This is calculating whether a stock or index or ETF is overbought or oversold across each leg of movement, not across a longer period, across each leg of up or down move. So when this stretch release signal came, that meant that it was overbought prior to that. How do I know that? I can also know it from the band indicator. It was technically overbought at this point itself, 3 days earlier. If it is overbought, we may not want to buy it. And then when it gave up the overbought condition, I call it bear release in this case, because bears seem to take over. If that coincides with a proper trade setup, then I take the short trade. Was there a short trade on this day? No. Why? Because if I look down, there was no heavy activity. Box short setup or box long setup also for that matter, they have a checklist. Just like all the other Q trade setups, one of the checklist conditions for box trade setup is that it must display the bear release signal along with heavy activity. That condition was met on this day, not on the earlier day. So you could have taken a box short trade on this day. If you have noticed, all the trade setups in Q systems, they are designed to be low risk. So I am either trying to catch the top of a swing or bottom of a swing. There is a breakout trade setup, but if you have noticed, though I can scan for breakouts either in Q Global or Q Elite, there is no checklist for breakout trade setup. I did it like that intentionally because breakouts often tend to give entry points that are not low risk entry points. That is against Q trading philosophy. So I didn't try to create a trade setup for breakout. What I do instead, I can scan for breakouts, probably breakouts with high bullish pressure or high bearish pressure, and then find out if there is a low risk entry point. Let me give an example. It's not the best example. Here, for example, it seems in the weekly chart, AXJO had broken out. At the point of breakout, I am not going to take a trade because the stop loss might have been far away. Then I would wait for a pullback and then for price to go up again. Though I am explaining it on weekly chart, all the swing trade setups that Q systems have, they are on the daily chart. So that's not the best illustration with a live case, but that is the concept that I can scan for breakout, but usually I am reluctant to take a breakout trade setup. I wait for price to pull back and then go up again, thereby giving a swing low. The stretch release signal therefore calculates overbought oversold condition across each leg, whereas the headwind reversal signal, that is not across only one leg, it is looking at much longer period of time. How many days, that is not known, it is dynamically calculated. We don't know across what period of time it is looking at depending on price movement. It calculates if it is getting kind of overstretched, you can say price is not going up anymore as it was expected to go up. Headwind signal itself doesn't tell that I'm going to take a short trade. At minimum, when the headwind signal, bearish headwind in this case, comes, I protect my long position. And then if the other checklist conditions are also met, some of the conditions are based on the daily, some based on the weekly chart. If all the checklist conditions are met, then I take a bearish headwind short trade. Again, you can see because headwind tends to come at the very top, they also give very low risk shorting opportunity. Another thing I always say, if the headwind signal comes across many related instruments at the same time, then we may take it more seriously. AXJO gave a bearish headwind signal in weekly and daily. That is another case where I take the signal more seriously when the signal comes in the same instrument but across both daily and weekly time frames. One characteristics that we'll see not only for Australian market but for all the other markets, it has dropped a lot. It has dropped so much that it is very difficult to find good shorting opportunity. What I mean by good, I mean low risk where the stop loss is nearby. Very difficult to find now. Whereas there are not many buying opportunities as well. I tried to take some bounce trades based on last Friday's market analysis. I shared those in my weekly market roundup. I posted some of those in the forum. I booked profit in some of them, but they also reversed. I will later on go through two of those stocks that I had shared in the last weekly market roundup. Because of this situation, it is difficult to short now, no low risk entry opportunity, and not many buy setups are available yet. I am not going to take new swing trades now. What about options? If you look at the options chains, the volatility is extremely high. Let's look at TradeStation for a moment. Let's look at the TradeStation radar. That's not radar, this is radar. Here I have dropped SPY, QQQ, DIA, IWM. We have a column here because TradeStation is a brokerage platform. It has options chain. Metastock has option chain, but not all the data related to options. If you didn't know, Metastock's latest version has options chain, and it has done something very innovative. If I have time, if not in this session, another session I will show you. If you are looking for buying and selling options at the same time, how you can use the Metastock platform to choose exactly which legs you want to trade. They have made it very simple, unlike the other brokerage platforms, though the trade has to be placed somewhere else, of course. Coming back to the option percentile, you can see if in the market ETFs, they are all cyan color. We don't need to actually look at the percentage, the numbers. All the Q systems are more visual than number oriented. Just the cyan color is telling they are inflated, the option volatility, and they are priced very high, so high that it is not efficient. I use that term efficient. It is not efficient to buy options, either put or call. because the volatility, the pricing is too high. And it is very risky to short options in this market. Even during every 10 minutes, S&P 500 futures is going up 20 points, 30 points, sometimes more than that. That is a very risky time to short options. Now, what about verticals? That is also not going to be efficient because not only the option pricing is high, the bid ask spread, apart from probably SPY, QQQ, they have also expanded. But for individual stocks, the bid ask spread has expanded so much that it is almost, I cannot say impossible, but I can say that it is very inefficient to trade options verticals now because of the bid ask spread. Because of that volatility, it is therefore becoming difficult to trade either stocks or ETFs or options even. Therefore, I am giving a pause to my trades. Can I still trade something? Yes, I can trade, but not swing trade using the weekly, daily time frame analysis. I can try to do some day trading. Futures have some advantages. They trade 24 hours. In my daytime, I can see if there is an opportunity. And again, for futures day trading, I am looking for price to go to an extreme and reverse from there, catch a swing low in either direction. That is a possibility, but for swing trading, it is not an optimal time to take trades. How was my account? Now, I didn't do long-term investment in the USA market. All my trades were swing trades, so I did all right. If I look at SPY, and I shared it earlier, it had displayed bearish headwind in the weekly, and bearish headwinds came across the board in SPY, QQQ, DIA, even the market breadth indices. So that helped me. As I mentioned, I always protect my long position when bearish headwind comes, and I could take a number of short trades. They worked out well. I am out of all the short trades, so I am flat now. In fact, for swing trading purpose, I have no position open. This pattern is not only in SPY, as you know already. Every market has dropped. QQQ. I never like to download data, then I have to sync up between computers and I pay a price for that. Sometimes during webinars, it gives up on me. Luckily, I have another trading platform. I hope I can see the data there. QQQ also dropped a lot. Now, if Metastock allows, I would like to look at some of the other markets. Let's look at China, and then we will see it is very broad-based. Now, China is an interesting market, maybe because of government intervention. I don't like to hypothesize why something is happening. I just look at the pattern, and the pattern is very flat. The current COVID virus spread started happening around December, but China market was in a box in the weekly chart before that, and it is remaining in the box. It didn't move much. Whereas if we look at Hong Kong index, Hang Seng index, HSI, this has dropped. Again, there was a bearish headwind in the weekly as well as in the daily that would have helped one to protect the long positions. And there were plenty of short trading opportunities. This was a, you can say, ideal go with flow short trading setup. In fact, this one and also this one. The second one, would I take it? No. I tend to say this, that Q traders are active traders. They are already short from this point. Why will they short from this point? Because price was already at lower boundary. After the fact, we can see it has dropped a lot, but on that day we wouldn't know. And we are active trader. We can run the scans every day at the end of the day. So we are already short from this point onwards. We would have booked at least partial profit at this point, and we are happily counting profit now. in Hang Seng Index. Probably got stopped out on this day. Not sure. Not stopped out if you are using the stop loss signal, and this is the stop loss signal. Let's check it out. That is in the stop loss indicator using Q protection signal. Okay, Metastock is taking time. Maybe next time I should download the data, which I don't like, but for the webinar I may do it. In any case, probably it would not be stopped out and one may still be in the short position. What about India market? This is also very weak. Again, there was a bearish headwind. There was a false upside breakout in the weekly chart. By the way, I have friends in India and some of them kept on buying all the dips, and they are extremely smart, not in terms of investing probably, but in rest of their lives they are very smart, very successful. They kept on buying at the dip. Now I don't know what they are going to do. Chart is very similar to USA market, dropping a lot. What about FTSE index, the UK market? Dropping a lot, sharp drop. And the drop was so sharp and so sudden, the long-term investors or medium-term investors didn't get probably a chance to exit. It just dropped like a rock. Now I want to point to some of the additional indicators I have added. This indicator is OBV. So I just name it QOBV because of the market fluctuations. Other than looking at the activity, I thought it's no harm to look at how the unbalanced volume is playing out. And then I added two more indicators. We had a template in Q. Let me try to open that. That's called price extreme, or not this one. I'm using hotkeys to change it. This is the indicator. It's coloring the candles called pendulum or price extreme, high or low. So if a stock goes up for more and more and more time higher than it had been before, then the color changes. Initially the color would have been, don't know if QQQ will give it anytime soon. Initially the color would have been red when it is at price extreme or pendulum low. Then it will change to yellow. As it continues to go up, it will become green and then cyan. How I use it? If I have a list of fundamentally strong stocks, even they drop. So I wait for them to come to price extreme low and then wait for them to start to go up, and I have a scan in Q systems at price extreme low and going up. Similarly, if I have a weak fundamental stock, not a strong fundamental stock, weak fundamental stocks, that is at price extreme high, then I am going to look for it to change from price extreme high, color changing from one of the cyan green colors to yellow or yellow to red, and then look for a short setup. The actual trade will be taken using one of the Q standard trade setups. So this indicator was already there, and the indicator was also in the band indicator. So what I have done, all the essential indicators from individual charts I have put as band indicators. So this is price extreme indicator, and sometimes there are reversal candles which give significant insight. So this was, for example, a bullish reversal candle. So we have those two indicators. Because of the market volatility, I thought of adding not just the band indicator as dot, but two more indicators. One is a jump indicator, and I use the name jump because my another trading friend and I respect a lot, and I learn also from him, Dr. Jeffrey Scott. He also uses an indicator similar to that. I got the idea of putting the indicator in Q Global from his videos. So I call it jump. The calculation may be different, but the concept is same. If it is displaying dots and let me use the arrow. If it displaying dots at the bottom, then it is at an extreme that it has not seen for a long time. That is the jump indicator. And then I wanted to see when it is jumping up or down, how fast it is going or with how much thrust it is going up or down. So I created another indicator, thrust indicator. If I switch back to SPY, you will see how fast and ferociously it switched from extreme thrust bullish side, extreme jump bullish side to extreme thrust and jump bearish side. Very sharp in the daily also. Interestingly, the thrust tends to come later, as you can see. Here the jump reached extreme, but thrust took some more time. The thrust is calculating in a way rate of change of jump. It may be because of the fact that at the peak price starts to accelerate before people starts to capitulate. So that may be why the thrust is peaking later than jump most of the time, not all the time. Here also at the downside, the thrust became extreme several weeks after the jump became extreme. If you look at the weekly chart especially, you will see that these extreme conditions don't stay for long. Not very long, especially when both jump and thrust reaches the extreme in the weekly chart. Now in the weekly chart it has reached extreme. Will it reverse? I don't know. This time, is it similar to previous times? I don't know. But if it reverses, then we'll be able to find some attractive buying opportunities in very strong fundamental stocks that will bounce up. Because price has dropped a lot, and let me delete this relative performance. It is not relevant because I am looking at SPY. Because price has dropped a lot, we are not going to expect trend following long trade setup. But good thing is Q Systems has trend reversal trades and some of them are based on exhaustion like bounce. So I can search for that and we will be able to look for them. Then the question comes, how do I prospect for those stocks? There are many ways. One way, as I mentioned, I could run the scan, look for stocks that are at price extreme low and reversing. Probably now I will not find any stock, but I can run this regularly and look for technical signals. Or I could look for stocks that are at weekly memory support. Where is weekly memory support or memory support? Memory trendline support. And for weekly, I can simply switch the time frame interval in Metastock to weekly. I can search for stocks that are hitting memory trendline support. Now to simplify searching for different trade setups, I created two combo scans. One is finding trade signals in the long direction, one for short direction. I ran it already on live data 17th March just before this session. What they give is a set of number tables. It's not easy to make sense out of the table. I can, but you don't need to. What you may do, you may right click and select copy all for short, and later on you may do for long. And then there is a new tool, Q Finder. For short, I go to the short and then click the download button. I didn't copy, let me actually copy. I copy all, go to Q Finder. I can clear the data. I don't need to because when I drop it using the smart paste, it will get all the data. I have smart pasted the data already in the long and short. So what I am doing nowadays, because I have the tool, I am first dropping the data and going to the summary tab. What it is showing me? It is showing me the statistics of long and short side. On what symbol list did I run it? I ran it on a list of 1322 stocks that are very liquid and that has at least 5 years of data, at least 5 years of data, and liquid in the USA market. So 1322, if I look at the statistics as of yesterday's close, 1167 stocks are giving bearish signal, 104 only bullish. And how many signals in aggregate? Bearish side 2885, bullish side only 164. Obviously it was very bearish day. The extreme column is showing how many of these stocks are price extreme. I mentioned about the price extreme or pendulum indicator or pen bar. 3 of these are at price extreme high. That may be good short candidate. 127 in the middle and 1037 at price extreme low. That is showing though there are many short signals, most of them are at price extreme low, not an optimal point to short. What about long? 21 price extreme high. That is not a time I like to buy other than high growth stock breaking out at the top or IBD style stock. 48 in the middle, 35 at the bottom. So there may be some scope of taking long trade in these 35 stocks. And then how many of those long signal stocks are actually going up and down? Why there is a down count? Because we have a scan for touch. So touch may be showing a stock is down, but it is hitting a memory support. So it's significant. The memory supports work quite well. So instead of waiting for the bounce, when it comes in the touch, I may be getting ready. That's why there are a number of stocks in the long scan that are actually down. Not a small number, isn't it? 48. It's it, it's interesting. When 48 stocks are hitting memory support, if at the same time the market is also hitting memory support, we may be getting ready. Not the best time to start buying stock, but no harm being ready. We always become ready and it's fun also. And then we have the data across multiple categories. That is the summary data. I have a view of how the market is from that. And now if I am looking for stocks and if I am looking for stocks that are at extreme low price, then I can use the filter by color. These are at price extreme low and some of them are going up a lot. Price extreme low and going up. Why don't we look at this JNUG? This is an ETF, gold miner, bull 3x. Not sure why it is down so much, but that means gold miners are down so much. I don't trade these ETFs much. JNUG is gold miners, bull is down so much. Interesting. Gold is not down so much, I think, but gold miners are down so much. It doesn't have any trade setup, of course, so I'm not going to look at it. Now coming back to the Q finder, now we can look for different kinds of trades, and this symbol across Q edge, Q vital, Q index is reset, and then I can apply the smart filter again. By default it sorts by percentage change, and you can see not only the ETFs, many of them are ETFs, maybe bond related. Is there any stock? Okay, let's look at the direction, the description. You can see most of them are ETFs. There is a gold miner, Anglo Gold, Ashanti. What I can do, because the Zenith based systems are integrated, I can come back to here and click the chart icon. Okay, I should first select the chart option, then come back and open the chart. It is opening the chart with the default indicator. gold miner AU had a sharp move up yesterday. What are the signals we are seeing here? We can read the chart, but let's try to see it from the trade finder. It is saying it is at pendulum middle, price extreme middle, and if I toggle back and forth, this is the band indicator for pendulum. By the way, on Metastock you can hover on any indicator and you can see it is the pendulum band, and if you go to the top it will be a different name. That's how, if you need to remember first few days, you may know. So this is pendulum medium. I could see that from the trade finder itself. It went up with high bullish pressure. What are the colors? They are explained here. Today's signals are this color, orange, then olive color yesterday, blue color this week, and previous week is gray. So if we look at the orange colors today, that is yesterday's close, we had high bullish pressure, possible box setup, and a reversal candle. Now we can look at the chart. Yes, there was heavy activity and bull release, and it is looking back for many days, and it has must have found some pivot level like this watermark pivot. That's why it's telling there may be a box setup and there is high bullish pressure. These are the pressure indicators and also an U-turn indicator. So it has high bullish pressure, possible box trade setup, and what else did it show? Pressure, box, and reversal candle. Yes, it is a reversal candle. I can see the reversal band indicator. It tried to go below previous day's low but closed above previous day's high. So that is a reversal candle and I can recognize it from the reversal band indicator. I clubbed the pendulum and reversal together because sometimes a reversal candle can come at price extreme low. Those are attractive buying points. That is how you can quickly look at stocks that are giving possible buying idea. By default, I mentioned it is sorted by percentage change. But if you want, you can double click. Like all the Q Edge, Q Vital, Zenith based systems, the column header can be double clicked for the appropriate action. What is the appropriate action for this column? This is giving me the cumulative number of signals for each stock today. It is sorting by that. If I want to see cumulative number of signals today and yesterday both 2 days, this is the column, and this column here is the cumulative this week. The description, this is cumulative this week and cumulative for 2 weeks. Because we are swing trading, we are most interested on cumulative signals today instead of finding from percentage change, which may sometimes point to the lower price stocks or triple X ETFs, for example. But if I want to sort by number of signals and then look for the stocks, I see AU is there, one stock, and there are several other stocks. So let me look at the stocks. I have already looked at AU, so I can control unselect that. Now let me do this. Let me look at their fundamentals. Because they are integrated together, I can click on the peer analysis button, and if my system cooperates, it will go to Q Vital. It has come to Q Vital and it is calculating the vital statistics, fundamental statistics. It has done that, and I now look at the data. Now market is not open, so 0-day percentage change is not updated. These are the percentage changes yesterday. I double click on the column header to sort by it, and I see interestingly SFM is a stock that is undervalued stock, and it has increasing and positive earnings growth in the latest quarter. Those are attractive buying opportunities for swing trading. For longer term investing, I may look for multi-year earnings growth or at least last 3 or 4 quarters earning growth. But for swing trading purpose, it is enough to see whether the latest quarter earnings is improving, which is true in this case. So what I want to do, I want to open this. Before opening a chart, I should close the earlier charts and go to QVital. Now again click the chart icon, they are integrated together. It is going to open with my default template, and this is SFM is giving me an interesting chart. Why interesting? It has displayed a bullish headwind signal. The backdrop color flipped from magenta to cyan in 1 week. This week market is down heavily, but SFM so far is up. Those are bullish signals in the weekly chart. In the daily chart, it created a watermark pivot and price tried to go below that. It was oversold and then it displayed the bull release signal. Then price sharply reversed yesterday and it broke above this memory resistance line. This is giving a possible buy setup. Let's find out what are the signals from QFinder SFM. We can of course read the chart, but at one glance we can see it has given extreme bullish pressure. It has a possible breakout setup. It has a possible go with flow setup. Possible but not true because it is not in an uptrend. Uptrend we have to figure out ourselves from higher high and higher low, but it has a bullish flow color candle, at least that we know from here. Those are the signals that came today, meaning yesterday. And if I look at the blue color, there is no green color cell here. The blue color is saying here is the legend this week. This week it had a gap up open also. That's nice. It had a gap up move somewhere during last 5 days, and of course it dropped after that, and now it is breaking out again. Am I going to buy it? No, because there are memory resistance lines. But if the market recovers, it looks like this stock has a better chance of recovery. Could somebody still buy it? No, I don't suggest. I am out of all my long and short positions. If the market was not so turbulent, I wouldn't mind taking a position. If normally I take 1% of my account size in each stock trade, I might take 0.5% of my account or 0.25 just to try it out. Sometimes it helps to take a very small position, then you are always tracking the stock regularly, and if it falls down you don't have a big loss, but it helps you tracking. Another thing to note, I mentioned that these extremes don't stay very long, and it created a double bottom from here to here in the stock chart, here to here also, both in the jump and the thrust indicator. If it becomes true, and it's not always true that extreme leads to reversal, but it is showing the possible characteristics of moving up. Now I use the Zenith system quite a lot, and that's the only system I use, whether for news or anything. So what I do when I have a stock, I like to have a look at it. Usually I don't cover Zenith, but these live sessions are very useful to cover everything that I do. So I drop it in the watch list SFM. I can look at the earnings date 30th April, so it has some time, and I can see volume over 5 day by 30 day is increasing a little bit. Few things that I look at. This is a very simple chart. I am not using it for charting, but Zenith shows the important events that took place, not necessarily only earnings. In this case it happens to be earnings, Sprout Farmers quarterly 4 earnings, but it shows other events also. So cursor moved here when I press the left key, and it says announces new CFO. Then if I go to the previous one, Sprout Farmers Market reports third quarter. So some of them are earnings results, some of them are not earnings results, but significant information. If you go through some of them, you will have an idea why these up moves and down moves are happening. That I find useful to know about the stock if you want to know. Some traders, swing traders, don't like to know about the stock, but if you want to know, this is very reliable information. Few other things that I look at is the industry. When I selected the stock, I have linked all the tabs in Zenith, and I have the industry application. I have been using Zenith for many years. Somebody told current users don't have access to the industry app anymore. Not sure, but I know for existing users they can continue to use. Even Reuters has Refinitiv discontinued something for existing users. They didn't drop it. So not sure if you have access to it. You can check. What I can do when I select a stock, I can look at its industry. So it belongs to food retail and distribution in this country. I have some information about the overall industry sector, and in this case there is not much, but you can see the top companies, winners, losers, market cap, unusual trading volume, some information. What I use it for is I browse through some of the latest news, and they are not only for the stock but for the industry. Again, for swing trading, some people may not want to do all that work, but if you want to know what is happening in the industry of a particular stock, this I think is the easiest and most reliable way to find that information. Few other things. I like to look at long-term price history. I have a concept that the areas where maximum volume took place, and here I am looking at 2 years data. You could change it to 5 years or even 10 years. So for swing trading purpose, I like to look at 2 years data. Update the view back again. I have a theory that these maximum volume areas are not entry points. Those are consolidation or exit points. I like to take the trades at extremes. And that concept is true for all my trade setups also. So I am not taking trade based on this information. But if price was at this band, I might be a little bit more cautious. But now it is at an extreme lower end. I am happy to take a buy position. The theory is that price will go back to the middle point of the pyramid, because that is where buyers and sellers agree on value of the stock. So I keep an eye on that for information. I think it is intelligent, useful information. And then if I am trading options, not sure if it has options or not, SFM, I use this volatility surface quite a lot. Yes, it has. Now, I am not expert on Zenith, but I know the things that I use. So what I use is I go to delta and I change the boundary to 3.33. And then I am going to choose options. Now April is right. Next monthly option, I'm going to look at it. What do I see? I have selected delta. So from ATM at the money to the right hand side, you can see the suffix C, that is call option. To the left hand side, you can see the suffix P, those are put options. What it is showing me that if I am going to buy call options, and SFM is looking more bullish than bearish for me, if I am at all going to trade with simple options, I am going to buy call. At the money options is not the lowest priced option, because this vertical column is volatility and the horizontal column in this case is delta. The lowest price option is 43 delta. Sometimes the change is not much. You can read it out from the vertical column. But again, if I am going to buy, why not buy 43 delta instead of buying 50 delta at the money? Few other things I can derive from here. If I am trading vertical and I am buying at the money, selling out of the money, say buy 50 ATM and selling 40 out of the money, I am at a disadvantage because I am buying more expensive volatility. It's not that I cannot trade that option vertical, but it is good information to have based on this calculation. And this calculation is not exactly same as in all brokerage platforms, but it is useful information. Every brokerage platform may have slightly different ways of drawing this smile. It's called a smile curve. It looks like a smile, but it is still a very reliable platform. So I look at it. So call long call vertical is not optimal, though the difference is not so much. What about short put? Short put means I am going to sell at the money and buy out of the money. That is worse, isn't it? The slope backward is much more than slope forward. That is the value of looking at it. So in this case, instead of using short put vertical, because I am paying a much steeper price for out of the money put option, it's much better to buy based on this graph long call vertical. That is how I decide whether I want to go for short put or long call for a stock where I have a bullish view. And of course, news. If I am looking at a stock, the latest news, I can look at streaming news from the news panel. I have set all of them up. Those are the things I look at before stock trading. The scanning and identifying trades doesn't take long. So SFM looked good and we found it out from Q Finder. Now I mentioned about prospecting. If this is not the best time to find stocks, how do I prospect stocks? One way is to go to Q Edge, and Q Edge has the S&P 1500 stocks. I may be looking for undervalued stocks, good valuation. So I can use the smart filter. It is going to give me all the undervalued stocks. And to be extra cautious, I may also filter for, let me use the filter. The filter by color is extremely useful. Now I am left with the stocks that are having excellent valuation. So if I am looking for value stocks, I may look at them and see are they going up, and some of them are going up. They are not ETFs now, they are all stocks, so it's and also not leveraged ETFs. So I can see several stocks went up. So that is a good way to prospect for stocks and get ready. Another way is, suppose I want high growth stocks. So for medium term investors, it is important to look at longer period. So we have these two groups of smart filters for earnings growth. The first group is for yearly period. Let me change the color. The first group is for yearly period, annual earnings growth, and the second group, similar icons, but the second group is for quarterly period. If I am looking for stocks with strong earnings growth for the last 3 quarters, and I refresh the data, so I have no filtering applied, I can simply click the smart filter. It is going to give me all the stocks that have robust earnings growth for 3 quarters. If I want also for the last 3 years, I make another click and I am left with these stocks. That is to start with S&P 1500 stocks. But what if many of us, like myself, have different stock lists? So Q Vital can be used for that. I have added a tab, Universe. You could use the Notes tab also. So I have my list of stocks. Remember this list I used for scanning in Metastar, liquid optionable stocks, minimum 5 years data. By the way, why minimum 5 years data? Because no harm having more data, and in Q Vital, I have the statistics for up to 5-year earnings growth, 5 years revenue growth. So I thought, why not look for stocks that have 5 years of history? So if I come back to Vital, and you can create your own list, I have this number of stocks. I can analyze them. I can go to dashboard, refresh, and I have the manual list. Instead of starting with a root stock, I go to manual list and paste as values. Streaming is on, so it is now retrieving data about these 1443 stocks and calculating their vital statistics. This is an extremely useful feature for prospecting stocks from your stock universe. It has calculated the data. Let me go to the vital tab, and now again I can look for the high growth stocks. Yearly period. I can also apply the filter for high growth stock quarterly period. That is not all. Let me refresh it. There are other ways of prospecting. For example, when the market is down, but some stocks are not down, they are supposed to be strong. So we have this column below 52-week high, and double clicking, I can find the stocks that are down the list. Some of them don't have enough history. So let me delete those rows. Some of these maybe small stocks don't have enough data or enough history. It's not there, at least in Thomson Reuters or Refinitiv. So I can delete. Let me double click again. Double click again. So these are the stocks that are not very far from 52-week high. So they must be quite strong. That is another way of prospecting. And the bold case gives me all the top 20% stocks. So I can scroll down until it is bold case, or you could look for X percentage. I think 30% is a bit too high, below 52-week high. Let me search for number filter less than or equal to, let's say, less than 50%. So it's below 52-week high, not more than 15%. And these are the stocks. Some of them have stronger earnings growth, this few. This one is not overvalued yet, CBB. So let me look at CBB. I closed. Okay, I can type CBB here. Let's see, I can type or not. Yes. Now, interestingly, there is no buy setup. Instantly, we know from the Q checklist that is there in our mind. But this is pretty strong stock because it is in an uptrend. It is not falling down, though the market is falling like a rock. Now, what is the opportune moment to buy this? That would be somewhere here, because in the weekly chart even it went up, made a higher low and went up again, and the backdrop color changed. Let's see how it looked like in the pendulum chart. Will I be able to open? Yes. Remember, I mentioned when there is a strong stock, one way I look for buy setups is when it is a price extreme or pendulum low and starting to go up. When price came here, that is November last year, we already had higher low and higher high. So now if I switch to the go with flow setup, meaning entry chart template, and if I get a cyan color candle somewhere in November, that would be the optimal point. And let me close this, go back to November. The cyan color candle came here, or a cyan color candle came here. Not there, here. Nowadays my eyesight is not so strong, so what I did, I am displaying the flow color here in the panel at the top pan. So I know this was a possible buying location and my risk could be very small. My profit ended up being a lot more than the risk. That is how I can use multiple scans. I can use Q Vital also to prospect for stocks and get ready. This stock is not at a buy point now, but it was if we were doing this exercise earlier. Let's have a quick look at the market futures. This is E-mini futures, very volatile market. In the last market roundup, I mentioned my market outlook as neutral. Why neutral? Because in the weekly, it was near memory support. this week it has pierced below that. So far it's only Tuesday. It has a lower tail. Not sure if it will hold the memory support. If it holds the memory support, that will be a positive sign. Until that is proven, I will prefer not to take a long position. And I tweeted one picture. Let me go to my Twitter page. I added one line chart, monthly line chart. This is on the left hand side is SPY weekly, S&P 500 weekly, and it is near the memory support as was true for the future symbol. We'll have to see if it recovers that. But what I also showed is the monthly chart for S&P 500. If this memory trend line doesn't hold, there is no support nearby. That is scary. uh, Now there may be some watermark pivot support here, some watermark pivot support here. The lower one is of course very far away. Even this one is significant distance away. That is one reason I decided to pause buying stocks, even if it is with small quantity. Let me see if this memory support in the weekly at least holds or not. Almost 1 hour. Let me end, and this time I want to go back to my slide, colorful slide. Thank you very much for attending. I am happy that I could successfully run the YouTube live session the first time that I did it. I appreciate you joining me. I will make it more regular. This is fun also for me, and I hope you find some use of these sessions. I think if you subscribe to the YouTube channel, you get notified. I also tend to post it on the Twitter page. I will try to reschedule it frequently. Thanks for attending. I look forward to seeing you in my next session. Have a great week and be safe from the market and also from the virus. Take care. Bye bye.